Today we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom's move to take on the Texas bounty law banning abortion, what the likely outcome will be, and what other Democrats should do moving forward. And I interviewed the U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy about the new Omicron variant, the dangers posed by those who refuse to get vaccinated, and what this pandemic means for the U.S.'s ability to be able to defeat viruses moving forward. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're listening to No Lie. Finally, we have a Democrat willing to fight back. This past week, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that the state would move to allow private citizens to sue anyone who manufactures, distributes, or sells an assault weapon or ghost gun kit or parts in California. Gavin Newsom tweeted, "SCOTUS is letting private citizens in Texas sue to stop abortion. If that's the precedent, then we'll let Californians sue those who put ghost guns and assault weapons on our streets. If Texas can ban abortion and endanger lives, California can ban deadly weapons of war and save lives." Now, this comes in the aftermath of the Supreme Court allowing a loophole for Texas's 6-week abortion ban to stand, thanks to a law specifically designed to evade judicial review and instead create a system where the law is only enforced through private lawsuits. In other words, where you can basically cancel constitutional rights so long as you use this little workaround that even the Supreme Court justices know is a workaround designed to undermine the Supreme Court and its own precedent. But because they're hacks and they want that precedent undermined, they want abortions to be outlawed, they allowed it to stand. And so Newsom saw that and basically called their bluff and said, okay, if you're going to allow a constitutional right to be skirted, because remember, access to a safe and legal abortion in the United States is a constitutional right thanks to Roe, then I'm going to do the same. And by the way, even the court itself acknowledged that what Newsom is doing in California could happen. During oral arguments, Kavanaugh admitted that another SB 8-style law could be used to target Second Amendment rights, and the gun rights group Firearms Policy Coalition filed an amicus brief for exactly that reason. They wrote, quote, "This will easily become the model for suppression of other constitutional rights, with Second Amendment rights being the most likely targets." And so why in the world wouldn't we target gun rights? First of all, because we should. Right? We're talking about a country that's seen almost 30 school shootings and almost 500 mass shootings in just this year. The only country that deals with these rampages, and also the only country that floods its own streets with guns. I wonder if there's a correlation. Also, the Second Amendment doesn't entitle you to any and all guns. Antonin Scalia, arguably the most conservative justice on the bench in 2008, himself said in District of Columbia versus Heller, quote, "Like most rights, the right secured by the Second Amendment is not unlimited. It's not a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever, in any manner whatsoever, and for whatever purpose." Meaning that common sense restrictions like those laid out in Newsom's proposal are actually reasonable. But beyond those things, we do this because we have to. We have to fight back. We have to do something. Democrats love to play this game where we pretend that we don't want to push the Republicans because think about how that could backfire on us. And so we have to tread lightly because we couldn't possibly risk the party that's abusing its power right now, abusing its power in the future. Think about how dangerous that could be. Like, what the Republicans are doing right now is already the worst case scenario, meaning that Democrats can either cower at the prospect of angering them, or we can fight fire with fire and show them that it works both ways. And frankly, don't stop at California. Every blue state in the country should take action. Already, Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, announced that they would move to follow California's lead.
The Supreme Court refused to block a Texas law that allows everyday citizens to sue abortion providers. Well, then California Governor Newsom wants to take that law and flip it and allow citizens in his state to sue assault weapon and ghost gun providers. Now, would you do something like this? Is it an effective legal strategy?
In New York.
The answer is yes. When I heard about that, I said to my team, we need to follow his lead. And the reason why that is because gun manufacturers and gun distributors in this country are immunized. No liability whatsoever. They're the only industry that is protected in this country. And given the carnage, and given the fact that this is the 9th anniversary of Sandy Hook, I am sick and tired of prayers and individuals whose hearts go out to all of those who have lost lives. We can do something about it. And what we need to do is hold these gun manufacturers and these gun distributors liable.
But making them liable is different than letting private citizens
citizens take action? Is that do you make that difference?
And so the issue is allowing private citizen, and is that a way to get around, again, this immunization, the fact that they have been immunized and the fact that we don't hold them liable. And so we are reviewing it. We are talking to California. And so this is a first. Yes, the Office of Attorney General Letitia James is looking at that model, and I congratulate Governor Newsom. Thank you.
Good. Keep going. And beyond that, don't limit it to guns. If the Supreme Court thinks that ushering in an era of vigilante justice is the right move, if they're that desperate to shoehorn in their anti-choice theology, then Democrats need to swiftly and decisively scare the shit out of Republicans until they realize that it's not. Now, of course, with that said, let's not bank on the Supreme Court recognizing that this sets off a dangerous precedent, because this is a court that's already proven it'll twist itself into pretzels to enact its own political agenda while blocking anything it opposes. And so look, if and when the Supreme Court decides that it's going to allow the Texas abortion law using a bounty system to stand, and then strike down California's gun restrictions using a bounty system, then that'll serve as all the proof that we could possibly need that this is not a legitimate Supreme Court. That the conservative majority isn't bound by any adherence to the rule of law or the Constitution, that they are bound by their political ideology. And so knowing that, there won't be any reason or excuse not to expand the court. Think about it. They're not ruling on cases in a legitimate manner, and so why do we have to pretend to ourselves that the court is legitimate? Why do we have to be bound by this idea of the sanctity of the court while the court itself isn't even bound by it? When the court proves itself to be a bunch of partisan hacks, then they shouldn't get to enjoy the benefit of the doubt that normally comes with being neutral. And look, I know that it's damn near impossible to get Democrats to do anything that would go against precedent or decorum or history, but dear God, it's about time that they realize that they're the only ones playing this game. Honestly, how many different ways do Democrats have to watch Republicans destroy every facet of our democracy before they acknowledge that this self-imposed neutering is just giving Republicans carte blanche to do whatever they want? Republicans know that they're not going to get an ounce of pushback because Democrats are more concerned with respecting precedent than the actual legislation, more concerned with respecting procedural tools than the actual people, constituents that those tools are supposed to serve. And granted, actually expanding the court relies on having enough votes in the Senate to eliminate the filibuster, which we don't have. And so instead, right now, we have to not be afraid to use what we do have. Even if these laws get struck down, it doesn't matter, because what we can't do is refuse to fight back. The only way this stops is if Republicans recognize that these things work both ways, and that Democrats are actually willing to show them that. So good on Gavin Newsom, good on Letitia James, and I am so looking forward to more Democrats showing up ready and willing to fight. To listen to my interview with the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, about the new Omicron variant, the dangers posed by those who refuse to get vaccinated, and what this pandemic means for the U.S.'s ability to be able to defeat viruses moving forward, click the thumbnail right here on this screen, or check out the interviews playlist on my YouTube channel.